The ghost that saved my life. I am a truck driver, frequently traveling to various parts of the Mexican Republic. During my journeys, I have encountered inexplicable and terrifying events, but one particular incident stands out: the time a ghost saved my life. It happened on the notorious Rumorosa Road while I was en route to Tijuana, transporting sugar from Guadalajara. The trip was estimated to last around 48 hours or more due to my heavy cargo. Nearly 40 hours into the journey, I reached Magdalena. Exhausted from lack of sleep but determined to press on, I had yet to pass through the treacherous horror story. Anyone familiar with this road knows its dangerous reputation with its steep slopes, tight curves, and deep ravines, not to mention the eerie tales surrounding it. Despite feeling the need to rest, I chose to soldier on, fearing further delays. At midnight, I boarded my truck after grabbing a quick coffee from a diner. As I settled in and looked into the rearview mirror, I noticed a woman gesturing to me. However, the dim lighting made it difficult to see her clearly, and something felt off. She seemed to float above the ground. Dismissing it as a trick of the mirror, I decided to continue my journey toward Tecate. A few hours later, around 2 a.m., with the unsettling stillness of the night surrounding me, I turned on the radio to keep myself awake. Despite the coffee's effect, I could feel drowsiness creeping in. My eyelids grew heavy, and I unintentionally fell asleep for an unknown duration. Suddenly, a woman's urgent voice broke through my slumber, imploring me to wake up and be cautious. It was a clear, chilling whisper that snapped me back to reality. The radio emitted strange noises, and the cabin felt unusually cold, sending a shiver down my spine. When I turned to the side, I saw her again. The same woman from Mexicali who had signaled me earlier. Yet, this time, she appeared pale, worn out, and her clothes appeared stained. Her presence was eerie, and she gazed at me silently with cold eyes, pointing toward the road ahead. In that moment, I realized my truck was headed straight for a cliff, a steep precipice. Swiftly, I mustered all my strength, turning the steering wheel with force, managing to regain control and avoid a fatal accident. Grateful and relieved, I turned to thank the woman and inquire how she managed to get up there, but to my astonishment, she had vanished. Trembling and cold, I was left to grapple with the encounter with death and the ghostly presence within my cabin. Fear gripped me deeply. Though I'm not one to believe in the paranormal, I owe my life to that ghostly apparition. Thanks to her, I can share this chilling experience with you. The strange creature. Throughout my years as a truck driver, I've embarked on countless journeys from Mexico to the USA and various destinations. During this time, I've witnessed many unexplainable occurrences on the road, which is why I avoid driving at night. However, one sunny afternoon, I experienced something extraordinary that I can't dismiss as mere imagination. On a Monday, October 12th, I was heading back to Mexico from the USA, around 5 p.m. Anxious to reunite with my family, I anticipated reaching my destination by 10 p.m., well aware that daylight saving time brought early darkness. As I traveled on Interstate 8, passing through the American version of Horror Stories, I noticed a motorhome overtaking me, carrying motorcycles on the back. Assuming it was an American family off for a weekend trip to the West Coast, I watched them speed ahead on the uphill stretches. As we descended, they gained even more speed. Behind me, another truck approached with its high-beam headlights illuminating the mountains. Suddenly, I witnessed an enormous creature racing down from the mountains, about 300 meters away. At first, I found it strange to see a dog-like figure in Rumorosa, but its colossal size astounded me. As it approached the road, the creature stood upright on its hind legs, which were remarkably long, while its front legs were short. To my disbelief, the creature crossed the road right in front of the motorhome, causing the vehicle to lose control and narrowly avoiding a plunge into the ravine. Thankfully, they managed to stop just in time. I halted my truck to offer assistance, and the man and his son seemed shaken. He asked me if I saw the dog-like creature, and I confirmed that I did, mentioning its unusual posture. He seemed reluctant to discuss the creature's size and manner of running on two legs, but eventually, he asked if I also witnessed it in that posture. I assured him that I had seen the same thing. For a moment, he hesitated, and his son suggested it might be a skinwalker. Nonetheless, his father dismissed the idea, claiming he didn't believe in such things. However, moments later, a horrifying growl, the loudest I've ever heard, filled the air, sending shivers down my spine. My neck hair stood on end. We heard rocks shifting on the other side of the road. The man's father appeared extremely nervous, evading the topic of the creature's size. Seconds later, we spotted a pair of pointy ears peeking out from behind the rocks. It was the same creature. Overwhelmed by fear, we all rushed back to our vehicles and drove away as quickly as possible. The strange incident with my trailer. In 2015, something bizarre happened to me. Around midnight, I was driving on the notorious Rumorosa Road, with rainwater leaking into my truck's cabin, hindering visibility. At times, I could barely see the road ahead, but I pressed on at a slow pace. Suddenly, a chill ran down my spine, as if warning me of impending danger. I was about halfway through the journey when I noticed a car parked in front of me. I gently braked and pulled up behind the car, ready to offer assistance. To my surprise, there was no one inside. I scanned the area but saw no sign of anyone nearby. It felt odd, but I decided to return to my truck and continue the journey. Stepping into the cabin, I felt another wave of coldness and an inexplicable sensation. Nonetheless, I was determined to leave the place and resume driving. After covering a few kilometers, I heard a voice from behind, pleading, "Please take my home with you." I slammed on the brakes, turned on the interior light, but found no one there. My body trembled, and I started praying as I walked away from the truck. In the distance, I spotted another fellow truck driver approaching. Relief washed over me at the sight of him. When he reached me, he inquired about what happened to my trailer, as it was approximately 200 meters uphill with the engine running, and I was standing far away. As I shared my experience with him, he recounted a similar incident that occurred to another colleague. The colleague had an accident, ended up in the hospital, and passed away shortly after. But before his demise, he managed to document his experience, which eerily matched the story I had just narrated. Since that day, I've learned that the life of a truck driver is tough, and if you don't have nerves of steel, you could lose your life on these roads. We witness strange events, and sometimes, we take these secrets with us to our graves. Authorities may attribute accidents to truckers dozing off, but there's often more to our stories than meets the eye. Subscribe to my channel for more scary stories.